Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Today, we will be going over baseball from yesterday, look ahead to today, same with soccer, WNBA playoffs, college football, Thursday night football, MLB power rankings for the first time in a while, news and notes, and best bet. Okay, we'll start with baseball. We'll go over yesterday's results. Look ahead to today. Cubs over the Pirates 8-4. Reds over the Cards 6-2. O's over the White Sox 3-1. Giants over the D-backs 5-1. Braves over the Nationals 9-4. Guardians over the Tigers 4-0. Red Sox over the A's 5-4 and 10 on a walk-off hit by Nick Sogard. Rays over the Blue Jays 2-1. Padres over the Mets 7-4. Brewers over the Angels 9-2. Yankees over the Twins 10-5. Royals over the Mariners 7-5. Astros over the Rangers 5-2. Marlins over the Rockies 8-4. And the Dodgers over the Phillies 5-0. Alright, so now we look ahead to today. I don't think there's as many games. Alright, 1 o'clock you have the Guardians and the Tigers. Tanner Bebe and Tariq Skubal. This is as big as it gets. Guardians red hot. Catching up to Boston and Houston, the Yankees, and the wild card Tigers. Haven't clinched the division yet. Guardians are only 4 back of the Tigers in the loss column. So, this is huge. They'll essentially an over, folks. Tigers minus 235, Guardians plus 194 over under 7, minus 110 each way. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 115, Tigers minus 1.5, minus 104. I'm going under 7 because of Skubal. MLB Network, Padres Mets, Randy Vasquez against Jonah Tong. Mets minus 142, Padres plus 120 over under 9, minus 110 each way. Padres plus 1.5 is minus 172, Mets minus 1.5 plus 142. I have to go take the Padres. I know the Mets need the games, but just too good of a number. Blue Jays Rays, Chris Bassett and Shane Baz. Jays minus 126, Rays plus 108, over under 7.5, minus 110 each way. Jays minus 1.5 plus 128, Rays plus 1.5 minus 154. I like the over. 130, A's Red Sox, JT Ginn and Brian Balo. Red Sox minus 148, A's plus 126, over under 9, minus 110 each way. A's plus 1.5 minus 164, Red Sox minus 1.5 plus 136. I'm going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. 2 o'clock Mariners Royals, Luis Castillo, and going for the Royals is Stephen Kolek. Mariners minus 120, Royals plus 102, over under 9, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Mariners minus 1.5 plus 134, Royals plus 1.5 minus 162. I like the under. Marlins Rockies, Sandy Alcantara and Tanner Gordon. Marlins minus 176, Rockies plus 148, over under 10.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Marlins minus 1.5 minus 118, Rockies plus 1.5 minus 102. I like the over at even money. 7:15 on Fox, Cubs Reds, Colin Rea and Hunter Green. Reds minus 142, Cubs plus 120, over under 8.5, overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 164, Reds minus 1.5 plus 136. Obviously the Reds are to the side, because we love going against teams that just clinched. I'm gonna go. Under 3.5 Cubs runs, plus 106. Also on Fox, Yankees O's, Max Fried and Cade Povich. Yanks minus 10, O's plus 176, over under 8.5, overs minus 122, unders even money. Yanks minus 1.5 is minus 132, O's plus 1.5 plus 110. This is an interesting one. I am going to go with... This is a ballsy play. But this is a bet on the taxing Yankees bullpens. We'll go over 3.5 Oriole runs at plus 104. I'm not saying the Orioles are going to win the game. This is a bet that they can score a little bit off the Yankees bullpen. Angels Brewers. Yusei Kikuchi and Quinn Priester. Brewers minus 215. Angels plus 180. Over under 8. Minus 110 each way. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 120. Brewers minus 1.5 is even money. The gift that keeps on giving. Brewers minus 1.5 at even money. And then 10 o'clock is Giants Dodgers. Logan Webb and Yoshi Yamamoto. Dodgers minus 172. Giants plus 144. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Giants plus 1.5 is minus 152. Dodgers minus 1.5 is plus 126. I'm going to go with the under at minus 105. Okay, now we'll move on to soccer. We'll go over notable results from yesterday, and we'll look ahead to today. I believe we have more Champions League today, and I remember giving out some plays for the 12:45 games, which was a good call. Champions League. Olympiacos, Paphos, 0-0 draw. Slavia and Bodo Glimt, 2-2 draw. Inter over Ajax, 2-0. Bayern over Chelsea, 3-1. Liverpool over Atletico Madrid, 3-2. PSG over Atalanta, 4-0. MLS. NYCFC over Columbus, 3-2. LAFC over Salt Lake, 4-1. Liga MX, Guadalajara, Tigres, 0-0 draw. Carabao, Swansea over Nottingham Forest, 3-2. Dutch Eredivisie, Feyenoord over Fortuna, 2-0. CONMEBOL Libertadores, Palmeiras over River Plate, 2-1 in the first leg. Alright, going on right now. I looked at these earlier. Al Khaloud and Damak and Saudi the Pro League, and then Al Tawoun and Al Etifak. 2 o'clock you have Neom SC and Al Akdod. I'm going to go over 2.5 goals in that one. Champions League gave out these picks yesterday. Club Brugge and AS Monaco and FC Copenhagen and Leverkusen. 3 o'clock on CBS Sports Network and Paramount Plus. Frankfurt and Galatasaray. So Frankfurt plus 125, Galatasaray plus 195, draw plus 270. I'm going Frankfurt plus 125. Man City, Napoli also at 3. Man City minus 160, Napoli plus 440. The draw is 3-1. I'm going to do under 2.5 goals plus 102. Newcastle, Barcelona. Newcastle plus 145, Barcelona plus 170, draw plus 270. That's a good one. I'm going to go with the draw plus 270. And then Sporting CP and Kuwait Almaty. Lipsong minus 1250. Kuwait is 27-1. The draw is 10-1. I'm going to go with under 3.5 goals at plus 106. CONMEBOL at 6 o'clock. You have Liga de Quito and Sao Paulo. First leg. And at 8:30, first leg, Flamengo and Estudiantes. And then CONCACAF Women's, you have Pachuca and America at 9 o'clock. We have some games tomorrow as well, but I think I'm going to hold off until tomorrow's podcast because some of these games start at 2 o'clock. And I might hold off for the podcast tomorrow to look at these games. Okay, now move on to the WNBA playoffs. We had 2 games last night. I don't recall if there's any games tonight. There could be some game 3s. Yeah, there are. So Mercury over to Liberty 86-60 to even up the series at 1 apiece. And the Lynx over to Valkyrie 75-74 to close it out and win the series 2-zip. Good first season for the Valkyries. They have a lot to be proud of. Their coach just won Coach of the Year for making the playoffs. 2 game 3s. 7:30 on ESPN2, Fever Dream. Atlanta, I would expect to be a big favorite at home. Yeah, there's 7. Total's 153.5. I'm going to lay the 7. They're the better team. Ryan Howard would lead the way. And 9:30 on ESPN2, Storm Aces. That's a 1-1 series. The Aces are giving it. Total's 158.5. I think that line's high, and I think that Nika Agumake is going to keep the Storm in it. So I'm going to take the Storm getting the 8. They won't win, but I think they're just going to cover the spread. That's all. All right, now move on to college football. We have one game tonight. It's an American Conference game. It's between Rice and Charlotte. From Charlotte, my line's Rice by 5, total 45. And we have 2.5 and 42.5. Now I have a 2-point edge on Rice and a 2-point edge on the over. So for this one, I feel better about the over. I'm going to do who do I feel better about. So I'm going to go over 42.5 at -110. It's just flat out a better price too than laying juice with Rice. So yeah, the pick here is the over 42.5. Okay, now we'll move on to Thursday night football. It's the Bills and the Dolphins. AFC East showdown. There's injuries on both sides. Miami's missing James Daniels, Austin Jackson, and Jason Sanders. Buffalo's missing Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, and Tyler Bass. So both kickers are out. My line is Bills by 13.5, total 55.5, and it is 11.5 and 50.5. I still like the over. I got it at 49.5 yesterday, and I'm still going to give it out at 50.5. A lot of defensive injuries on Buffalo's side, even some on Miami's side, but not as notable as Buffalo's. So I'm going to take the over 50.5, and that is still going up. So there's that. And then my Thursday NFL bet. I could go with this game, but I could also go with another game. And oh, by the way, the Bills, do I feel good about it? No, but they're going to be my survivor pool pick. I'm in 2 survivor pools. I think I'm going to go with one of the home favorites on Sunday and one, and then the Bills in the big one. And it's just unfortunate that I have to knock out the Bills and the Ravens early in the season in a big survivor pool so early. So a bet I'm gonna make right now. Ooh, Tennessee went up to 4.5. That's crazy, but that's about to go back down. I am going to jump on the over in the Lions-Ravens game Monday night. So that's going to be my Thursday NFL bet of the week. So over 52.5 in Detroit, Baltimore. Okay, now I'm going to do my baseball power rankings. As we head closer to the postseason, we have not done baseball power rankings. I don't think we've done them all year because I obviously was on hiatus when baseball started. All right, so number 30 is the Colorado Rockies. They're the worst team in the league. They are 41-11, long eliminated, minus 402 run differential. They are like last year's White Sox. They are hideous. 1-9, their last 10 losers of 4 straight. So they just got swept by or they could get swept by the Marlins. And coming up, they at home Angels, and then to close the season, at Mariners, at Giants. 29, Chicago White Sox. They're still a joke. 57-96. Minus 89 run differential. 3-7 their last 10. Also eliminated from playoff contention. They just got swept at home by the O's. So they host the Padres, and then they're at the Yankees and at the Nationals to close the season. 28, the Washington Nationals. 62-91 in the year, minus 195 run differential, 3-7 their last 10. So they just got swept in a 4-game set by the Braves. They're at the Mets, at the Braves, home White Sox to close the season. Number 27 is the Pittsburgh Pirates. 65-88 on the year, minus 81 run differential, 1-9 their last 10. They just got swept by the Cubs. They host the A's, at the Reds, at the Braves to close the season. Number 26 is the Minnesota Twins. 66-86 on the season, minus 88 run differential. Lost 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. Coming up, home Guardians for 4, at Rangers for 3, at Phillies for 3. 25, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 69-83 on the season, minus 145 run differential, 3-7 their last 10. They're playing the Brewers right now. Could get swept. They close the season 3 at the Rockies, 4 home Royals, and then 3 home Royals, home Astros for 3. Number 24 is the Oakland Athletics. 71-81 on the season, minus 70 run differential, 6-4 in the last 10 though. So they're at Boston now. They close the season 3 at Pittsburgh, home Astros for 3, home Royals for 3. 23 is the Miami Marlins. 72-80 on the season, minus 89 run differential. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Won their last 2 against the Rockies, and then they play the Rockies again. At the Rangers for 3, at the Phillies for 3, home Mets for 3 to close the season. And oh yeah, they're not eliminated yet, but they're about to be. Number 22 is the Baltimore Orioles. They're eliminated. They're 72-80 on the season, 6-4 in their last 10. Winners of 3 straight, by the way. That's because that's against the White Sox. Coming up, they host the Yankees for 4, host the Rays for 3, at the Yankees for 3. So they haven't played the. It's weird that their 2 Yankee series is early in the year, and they have 2 against the Yankees late in the year. Everybody probably thought that was going to be for the division before the season, but the O's turned out to be a flop. 21 is the St. Louis Cardinals. Still alive in the amazingly enough. 74-79 in the year, minus 58 run differential, 3-7 their last 10. So they lost 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Coming up, they host the Brewers for 3, at the Giants for 3, at the Cubs for 3. Number 20, Tampa Bay Rays. They're mathematically still in it too. 74-78 on the year, plus 48 run differential. This team underperformed. This is what it's suggesting. So they're playing the Jays now. Coming up, host the Red Sox for 3, at the O's for 3, at the Jays for 3. So it's all AL East for them to close the season. Number 19 is the Atlanta Braves. They're 72-80. 70-83. Minus 25 run differential. This is the biggest disappointment in the league. still mathematically alive. They just swept the Nats. Coming up for them, at the Tigers for 3. Home Nats for 3. Home Pirates for 3. Number 18 is the Kansas City Royals. 76 on the season, minus 17 run differential, 3-7 in their last 10. So coming up, so they're playing the Mariners now, and then they host the Blue Jays for 3, at the Angels for 3, at the A's for 3. So they're closing the season on the West Coast. Number 17 is the Cincinnati Reds, also 76 on the season, plus 126 run differential. So you could argue they're better than this. They're 500 in their last 10. They just beat the Cards 2 out of 3 coming up for them. They host the Cubs for 4. Host the Pirates for 3, and at the Brewers for 3. So all within division. Number 16 is the San Francisco Giants. They're still in it as well. They're 76 on the season. 4-6 in their last 10 though. So coming up for them, they're at the Dodgers for 4. That could be their death sentence potentially. Host the Cards for 3, and then host the Rockies for 3. So if they survive the Dodger series or do well, then they have a shot to pass the Mets. Number 15 is the Arizona Diamondbacks, 77 on the season, plus 27 run differential. They're 500 in their last 10. Maybe they could be the team that sneaks up on the Mets. They just beat the Giants 2 out of 3. So they're home Phillies for 3, home Dodgers for 3, at Padres. So they have a really tough schedule the rest of the way. Number 14 is the New York Mets, 78-74 on the season, plus 48 run differential, 2-8 in their last 10. Their collapse has been one to that's really getting a lot of attention. So they have a chance to take 2 out of 3 against the Padres, and then coming up they host the Nats for 3, at the Cubs for 3, and then at Marlins for 3. So that a little hard at the end, and then Marlins. 13 is the Texas Rangers. They are 79-74 on the season, plus 87 run differential, 64 in their last 10. They've really turned it on this month. They got swept by the Astros, which is a bummer. Coming up, host the Marlins for 3, host the Twins for 3, and then a huge series. There could be a huge series at the Guardians for 3. So easy schedule than Guardians. Number 12, the Cleveland Guardians. 80-71 on the season. Looks like they're gonna have a winning record. Minus 25 run differential. You could argue they've overperformed. 9-1 their last 10. They've won 6 straight. They've been red hot. They're playing the Tigers now. They beat them twice. And then coming up, at the Twins for 4. Host the Tigers again for 3. And then they host the Rangers for 3. So other than the Twin series, it's a hard schedule. Number 11 is the Houston Astros. They are 84-69 on the season, first in the division. 6-4 in their last 10. They've won 3 straight. They obviously swept Texas. Big series at home against the Mariners for 3, including Sunday Night Baseball. At the A's for 3, at the Angels for 3. So all division, and after the Mariners series, it gets easier. So we'll see if they're most likely to win that division. So keep that in mind. They have the 2 road series against the 2 bad teams in that division. Number 10 is the Texas Rangers, 85-67 on the season. Or, I'm sorry, the Detroit Tigers. I said the Texas Rangers by accident. 85-67 on the year, first in the division, plus 89 run differential, but they're 4-6 in their last 10. And I think I saw somewhere they're under 500 in their last 20 games or something. They lost 2 against the Guardians. It could get swept. Coming up, home Braves 3, at Guardians 3, at Red Sox 3. Hard schedule down the stretch. So that division's not over. That's crazy. If the Guardians win, it's going to be 3. And then they play them at Cleveland again. And even the Braves series won't be easy for them. Next, number 9, the Boston Red Sox. They're 83-69 in the year. 6 back of the Jays for first. 2 back of the Yankees. Plus 104 run differential. They're 500 in their last 10. So they play this afternoon against Oakland. Could win that series. And then they're at the Rays for 3. At the Jays for 3. Home Tigers for 3. That's a hard schedule for Boston. So Cleveland can catch them. Although Cleveland does have a little bit of a hard schedule as well. So Cleveland's 2 back of them in the loss column. Number 8 is the Seattle Mariners. 83-69 on the season. 9-1 in their last 10. They had won 9 straight prior to that defeat yesterday against the Royals. Yeah, it was 9 in a row they won. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, they had won 10 straight prior to that game. That's why they're ahead of Houston, because of the winning streak. So coming up, they close out with the Royals today. And then they are at Astros for 3, home Rockies for 3, home Dodgers for 3. So that Rockies series, they want to win that division, sweep them. But yeah, that Dodgers series won't be easy. Number 7 is the San Diego Padres. They are 83-69 of the season, 2 back of the Dodgers. 6-4 in their last 10, plus 61 run differential. They're closing out their series with the Mets today, and then coming up at the White Sox for 3, home Brewers for 3, home Diamondbacks for 3. So their easiest series left is at the White Sox. Number 6 is the New York Yankees, 85-67 on the season, 4 back of the Blue Jays for first. They have the lead in the first wild card, plus 128 run differential. This is probably the best team in the division, but they had a collapse in the summer. That's going to cost them the division. But hey, we know the rule in baseball. Sometimes it's not important to win your division. As we saw with the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. In the year the Phillies were in the World Series, they didn't win the division. So coming up for the Yanks, so they just won 2 out of 3 against the Twins. At the O's for 4, home White Sox for 3, home O's for 3. So easy schedule down the stretch. And then there's going to be a lot of Yankee fans at Camden Yards, so that's kind of like a home series for them. Number 5 is the Los Angeles Dodgers, also 85-67 on the year. They're first in the division, plus 122 run differential. So they 7-3 in their last 10. They lost 2 out of 3 at home against the Phillies. Phillies are just kind of on a magical run right now in a way without Zach Wheeler, which is impressive. That's for them though. Home Giants for 4, at D-backs for 3, and then at Mariners 2. So they have a hard schedule, the Dodgers. The Padres can catch them because, I mean, they just got to sweep the Giants. So that's what they have to do. But, hey, not inconceivable. Alrighty. Number 4. The Toronto Blue Jays, first in the AL East, 89-63 on the season, plus 87 run differential, 7-3 in their last 10. They're playing the Rays right now. Going for the series win. Coming up, at the Royals for 3. Home Red Sox 3. Home Rays 3. So their schedule's kind of easy, but not really. The Rays are always a pain in the ass, and then the Red Sox are going to be a little hard. It's favorable, but the Yankees have the easier schedule. Number 3, the Chicago Cubs. 88-64 in the year, 5 back of the Brewers. So that division's kind of not over yet. Plus 133 run differential, 7-3 in their last 10. You could argue the best 2 teams in baseball reside in this division. All right, coming up for the Cubs At the Reds for 4. No, by the way, they just swept Pittsburgh. At the Reds for 4. Home Mets 3. Home Cards 3. So easy schedule. Hardest series is probably at the Reds, because that's on the road rather than at home where they're dominant. Well, they did just win on the road, Pittsburgh, with a lot of Cubs fans there. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Phillies. They are 91-62 on the season, first in that division. They have clinched that division already. It's amazing them winning that division without Zach Wheeler. Plus 124 run differential, 8-2 in their last 10. They won 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. At the D-backs for 3. Home Marlins 3. Home Twins 3 to close the season. We're probably staring at 6-3 to finish the season for the Phils. And then number 1 is the Milwaukee Brewers, of course. 93-59 the year, the best record in baseball. Plus 187 run differential. That's the best run differential in baseball. 6-4 in their last 10. Imagine to think that this team got swept opening day weekend in the Bronx, only to have the best record in baseball. So they have a chance to sweep the Angels tonight. And then coming up, at Cards for 3, at Padres for 3, home Reds for 3. They should wrap up this division. That Padres series is going to be tricky. That's harder than anything the Cubs have left on their schedule. But, yeah, the Brewers should wrap this up. And their last 10, just looking at it, I'm probably 6-4 with opportunities to bet against them after they clinch the division, assuming they do so. All right, so there you have it for the baseball power rankings. Okay, now we'll move on to the news and notes for today. So there's a couple things that I wanted to bring attention to. Steelers offensive lineman Max Sharping has a torn ACL and is out for the season. That's brutal for Pittsburgh. All right, so new report on the Kawhi situation. The Clippers reportedly gave aspiration $118 million over an 18-month period. Pablo Torre's been all over this with Kawhi Leonard. And then Steve Ballmer is duped by the aspiration as they released a statement after Pablo Torre's latest report. Ben Johnson called out his own team as he didn't hold back on their habits. The reporters were asking about Stephon Diggs becoming a dad. Zaire Franklin discredits Cam Ward as he had some harsh thoughts on Ward's first NFL touchdown pass. A Chiefs defensive lineman is tired of the tush push. He said they ran the same play 7 fucking times. They always run the same play a ton. They're obviously the team complaining. It's them and the Packers and everyone in the NFC East, you would think. Joe Burrow to have surgery on Friday on the grade 3 turf toe. Bucs starting right guard Cody Mauch out for the season after the knee injury. That's not great for the Bucs. Also not great for the Bucs. Kalijah Kancey going on injured reserve. Isaiah Simmons signed off the practice squad. Brock Purdy could play in week 3. He returned to practice on Wednesday, but was limited. It's crazy because the Cards were a favorite to start the week, and now the Niners are giving 2.5. So that's telling you that they think there's a chance he comes back. Todd McShay said that Archer's shoulder is fine, as he said there's nothing wrong with him amid injury rumors. Brett McMurphy's reporting that Arizona State and Kansas in talks to play at Wembley Stadium next year. That's pretty cool. Shohei Ohtani is considered for the bullpen as Dave Roberts is not ruling out Shohei as a relief pitcher in the playoffs. I am against that. I wouldn't use Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher in the playoffs, especially out of the bullpen. I think he's doing that because the Dodgers bullpen is not good. And he's just trying for answers. Their bullpen isn't as good as it was last year, and their bullpen is a big reason why they won the World Series last year, especially in the Yankee series. Because their starters, especially in the two of those Yankee Stadium games, were not good. MLB players refuse salary cap as owners' desire for cap and CBA talks seen as declaration of war. The Nationals spoke with Red Sox assistant GM Eddie Romero for top front office roles. That's interesting. Xavier Worthy could play against the Giants on Sunday night and expected to wear a harness. Giants offensive tackle James Hudson talks penalties. He says he didn't smack James Houston intentionally in week 2 loss. Mike McDaniel and Chris Dreer may not need the playoffs. It's not playoffs or bust. I think that report's fake. That owner is crazy when it comes to his decision making, and I've seen him make worse decisions. So yeah, they're definitely playoffs or bust. I don't buy that at all. Speaking of the Dolphins, the Jalen Ramsey trade was team-driven as Jalen's behavior was reportedly drained on the Dolphins. And more Dolphins drama. Tyreek Hill admits to missing meetings as he also denies receiving preferential treatment from Dolphins staff. Teams around the NFL think that Kirk Cousins is done amid lack of trade interest. Odell Beckham Jr. says retirement is not happening as he wants to finish off his legacy. The Chiefs can really use Odell Beckham Jr., don't you think? So could the Ravens. So could the Bills. So could the Niners. Executive split on Brady meetings as some NFL personnel believes Raiders get unfair advantage having minority owner in broadcast meetings. I just think they're jealous. That's all. Leo Messi in Miami nearing extension. That's big for them. Stewie says the Liberty are embarrassed as she didn't hold back. We talked about the Valkyries coach winning coach of the year. The NCAA eliminates spring portal as committee approves shifting single transfer window in January. I'm not against this, but you know what else I'm against? The transfer portal beginning in December. While teams are getting ready for bowls. The Commanders are returning to D.C. as the City Council approves $3.8 billion renovation of RFK Stadium for 2030. That's awesome. This is big news. Jose Quintana on the injured list with the left calf strain. That's brutal. He better be back for the playoffs for the Brewers. Aishan Genti ready for more usage. He better be. They picked him that high in the draft for a reason. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. There's a couple I like. I don't know if I'm going to double down on that over, or I might go with something in baseball instead. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with baseball instead, and honestly, I might go with the same pick I did. Yeah, I'm going to go with the same pick I did. It's just safe. Delayed the Brewers 1.5 at even money. That's just a safe bet. So there you have it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow for the Big Friday show with Best Bet, Fab 5, and a lot more. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.